What up, y'all? It's your boy DJ TLM, the last one. He can you tuned in to Share the Knowledge Live. I believe this is episode 41. I think I called last week's episode 41. And then later on, I saw that that was possibly not episode 41, but episode 40. So just to be sure, I'm not even numbering this one yet. Let me just quickly see what's going on here because... Okay, Twitch is saying it's online. Yeah, you are. Okay. Hey, we got Mixmaster G in the building who came through and did his on-the-spot live streaming. And actually, during his quick second of live streaming, he got to catch the rare moment of... I'm not going to blame the software. I'm not going to blame the hardware except for the laptop I was using. But all of a sudden we had like a freeze and we had no audio for like, I don't know, 5 to 10 seconds. It was probably not that long, but it feels long where you're DJing and your sound gets cut off. But yeah, I was happy that the laptop was able to even give me that. So I'm, oh, I see an important thing. It's cool that you can see it, but I have to turn this off. So... Let's see, because you're seeing the overlay that I was using on the spot. So I did for the people, I guess most of y'all probably missed it because it was a totally different time than my usual streams. Amsterdam Dance event has started, and I did sort of a pop-up set at a store, a neighborhood store close to my studio right here in the center of Amsterdam called Mr. Mokum, and I streamed it. But I did the stream straight from my A10 Mini Pro because I do not have a great mobile setup. So I have one laptop that could barely handle the DJ side of things. There's no way I could also let that run OBS, and I don't have another laptop that could do that now. So luckily I have my A10 Mini Pro, the video switcher. The Pro version, the one I have, it actually has onboard streaming capability. So all you have to do is plug in that Ethernet cable, then you have an internet connection, and beforehand in the software, you give it a stream key. Now, the stream key inside my A10 Mini is just my restream key. As soon as I press on air, it'll start broadcasting straight from the box. So I absolutely love that, and this was a perfect example where I could use it. Now, the one thing is, if you're going to DJ and live stream that way, you don't have the same overlays that you have when you're using something like OBS. So, hey, Miz, I've been saying this ish for a week that I was going to be streaming. You're not on IG, are you? Yeah, you're on Facebook. I hardly ever do anything on Facebook, but I'm pretty sure it's been posted on my Facebook. Nicky was er nog al. En zelfs Mathieu kwam nog binnen. But, the only thing is you don't have like the overlay, so the normal overlay, so no chat or social rotator, anything like that. But as you can see, I did have an overlay, and it's still active. And you see like a Mr. Mokum logo right there, and an ADE logo, and a DJ TLM TV logo. But we don't need that now, so I'm just gonna go into the A10 Mini software, and I'm gonna say, yeah, turn it off. And that should now, yeah, there we go. And now it's gone. There are ways that you can also get like your chat inside the A10 Mini, but then you have to have an extra laptop and take HDMI from that into there and then use either a Luma key or I don't know. There's a ton of things you have to do, but I don't have the equipment for that now. This was a perfect solution. I think I'm going to add a little bit more light here. Let me quickly do that. I love that the key light I have. That's that Amaran 100. Let me give myself a little bit more because I've seen a couple of replays and they look a little bit dark. So let me just brighten that up. There we go. Cool. But I mean, overall, it was fun. It was fun. It wasn't. I wasn't expecting like this to be something with like a party crowd, and there was definitely not a real party crowd. That is actually getting hot. But yeah, I got to see some people that I normally see in the chat on the stream chat that came through. So salute to D-Boy 020 and a couple others. Mixmaster G came through as well. And I think Mixmaster G, by the way, you can let people know in the chat. I think Mixmaster G is in Amsterdam all week, giving you info or showcasing his conversion utility tool. So drop it in the chat if you want to, Mixmaster, because I don't know off the dome where you are. So you're demonstrating all week. So just drop that in the chat. Marianne, what's going on? Salute. And who did I miss? Malu, the specialist in the building. Chris on the mixes here. Did I miss anyone else? No, I don't think so. We got a cozy little crowd here. Curtis, yeah, man. So I saw Curtis in the chat during the stream. That was the other thing. So I basically had all the equipment I needed. I didn't bring too much. They had the DJ gear. I knew they didn't have the mixer. So they had, I think they had like the DJM 900 Nexus 2, which should work with Serato, but I still prefer to have one of my scratch mixers. So I brought the S7. We got DJ Kylo in the building. Raider 1 in the building. Creeps in the building. Salute, salute. Creeps, I'm pretty sure you're probably DJing this week. Probably multiple times. So if any of that is being streamed, let us know in the chat as well. Okay, so Mixmaster G just put it up in the chat so you can see it there. Free workshop. It's an hour workshop about collection conversion for DJ software. Jose Rodriguez. Good. What's good? So I brought my mixer, and I didn't have to bring too much gear for the stream. So I brought two GoPros, my Atem Mini Pro. Just had to make sure I had all the cables I needed. And the one thing I should have brought was a microphone. They had Cdjs, they had turntables, they had a mixer. And I made the critical mistake of assuming that they would also have the microphone. Never assume. Bring your own stuff. Or just give them a call, which is what I should have done. Just send a quick text like, yo, do you have a microphone there? Now, mind you, I could have walked to the studio from Mr. Mokum in like 5 minutes. I was like, you know what? Never mind. I'll do it without. So I did type in on the iPad. I typed in a couple of messages, but I had a bad connection there. I was using my iPad with tethering from my phone, and I lost the connection a bunch of times. Now, with the streaming, there was no issue because I'm doing it with a wired connection. Another DJ came in and was like, hey, why don't you just use your phone for the internet connection? I was like, nah, I'm not doing any of the Wi-Fi stuff for streaming. Let me use a wired connection if one is available. You're just going to have a so much more steady connection. So, yeah. Yeah, Wiz. I mean, of course, it works without the mic. You can still do your thing, even though I've gotten used to being able to give a quick reply. So even now, like you just said something, I'm able to reply straight away. In this case, I had to go to the iPad and like type really short answers. But yeah, it worked. Okay, Creeps, Sunday afternoon, 4 o'clock, bracket event at the Rembrandt Square. Sunday 4. I do not know. Just like that. If I can, I'll let you know. I'll make sure I'll send you a message through one of the platforms for sure. Hey, I don't know, for the people in Amsterdam, so I don't know if there's people on the stream right now that came to Amsterdam for Amsterdam Dance Event. I mean, I know Mixmaster G is here. Up until now, it kind of looks like it's not really as popping as normal, but it is the first day. Maybe things will catch up. But what I remember from previous editions of Amsterdam Dance Event is that the city is popping. You got a lot of people from other cities and countries in Amsterdam. There's a ton of events going down. A lot of people networking at all sorts of events. I didn't really feel that type of, just energy. But I didn't go throughout the city. So maybe in some places. But I talked to a couple of DJs who did a couple of pop-up events today. And yeah, they were kind of saying the same thing. Like, yeah, it's not really as happening as normal. And like compared, I know a lot of people from overseas who normally come to Amsterdam, and ADE is like my normal hookup time to hook up with my peeps from overseas. So a lot of my US peeps, they come over for Amsterdam Dance event. None of them are coming. So yeah, that's Mixed Master G says the same thing. The vibe was off. And I mean, even the event I was playing at, I wasn't expecting like a crazy crowd, but probably even still a little bit more of like a networking situation. People normally like hop in and out, especially if you have all sorts of these pop-up events. People will just go from event to event, pop in, just say hi and move on. And that was kind of limited. And Vest is saying like the day conferences are limited as well. So, I mean, it's cool that they have it this year and it's not like just a virtual like conference. But I feel I don't know how it's been promoted in other countries either. Oh, the day conferences are canceled. So are all the business related activities. Oh, for real? Is there a special reason for that? You know that? Because that's pretty crazy because, I mean, there are still some limitations here, but you could actually do quite a lot if you wanted to. Okay, yeah, that's too bad. Because I didn't know that either. There's this little pandemic. Now, I mean, I understand, of course, but like the opportunity to have small events is here. A lot of people could have done things. Yeah, so if that's the case and people knew that in advance, then I totally understand why it's not really popping in Amsterdam right now. So yeah. Yeah, okay, I understand. I have to be honest. I have not paid too much attention to what was allowed and not allowed in the last like month. So yeah, if they were too late to give the final green light for the international speakers, yeah, that kind of kills it. So I got you. Yeah, like Vest was saying, like with the QR code, I thought like, okay, that will at least allow like a lot of like conferences to be able to happen, and as much of it sometimes appears like you have this incredible mass of people who are against all of these regulations. The largest percentage of people are actually able to comply because they have the code. So they could have done quite a few events. But okay. So you are at the Cafe American. I'm sending you the message when I come this week. Yes. So quick rundown. Like I said, I had 2 GoPros, my GoPro 9, GoPro 10 connected to the ATEM Mini Pro. The DJ set is just connected to the ATEM Mini Pro as well. So audio and video all going into that little device and broadcasting straight to Restream. Now, the only problem was I was streaming to Twitch, Twitter, and Mixcloud. But in order for Twitch or in order for Mixcloud to work, you do have to go to the site for a sec. And I couldn't do that at the spot. And Mixcloud did not happen. It did not take the stream. And Twitter didn't take it. And that's the one I don't understand because I had that turned on in Restream and it should just start broadcasting. But hey, Twitch was on and I had like 35 people in there. So that was cool to have as an extra audience. Yeah, I had the S7 for this one. The S11 isn't here anymore. That went back to Pioneer. I have my S9 that I could have brought, but I, in this case, was like, yeah, let me just take the S7. I mean, basically for working, they're both very similar. Hey, Nero, all the way from Kenya, salute to you. And Red 434, Windows 11. I made sure that I did not update the laptop I was using. The laptop I was using for DJing, like I said, it can hardly handle the things it needed to handle now. So I made sure not to update that because I don't know what effect it would have on that laptop. If it would have made it maybe a little bit snappier or if it would have like slowed it all the way down. I'm hearing some conflicting messages. The one thing that kind of worries me with Windows 11 is the fact that my studio computer, which is a Windows computer, it is an AMD system. And I've heard several stories from like tech channels that that Windows 11 is hindering the performance of Ryzen processors, that it actually decreases the processing power. So for now, I'm sticking with Windows 10, and I'll wait to see how that rollout continues. I will have a talk with my guy MIC, who's in the chat sometimes as well, as he is an insider there. And yeah, I'll wait until I hear from him, like, yeah, we should be good now. Yeah, Vess. So AMD is working on that, and I'll wait. I mean, everything is working great, and I don't think there's anything in Windows 11 right now that would make me say, like, okay, I need to upgrade straight away. So I'm going to give that a wait. Oh yeah, let's see. I'm going to upgrade my system to Recordbox DVS. Problem is my DJM 450 has no browse knob for the library. Okay, wait a minute. But is the DJM 450, that is a mixer that will unlock Recordbox DVS? Because I'm not sure about that right now. I haven't seen the 450 in quite some time. I'm actually just going to bring it up for myself so I can see it. Yeah, let me get that in the screen like this. For the people that don't know, those three crosses like that, that is Amsterdam right there. Okay, so it unlocks Recordbox DVS, but it doesn't have a browse feature on it? For real? Give me another picture. Let me see this one from the top. Oh, here we go. Dang, that's weird. Yeah, indeed. It has, like, you can go line phone or computer. So you have the USB interface in there, indeed. How did they figure this one out? How did they decide that this was a good idea? I honestly never, I haven't used the 450 ever. Wow. Now, what I would say is you can probably MIDI map another knob on this controller, on this mixer, to be your browser knob. That might be an option. But then again, hold up. Let me see. Okay, so just to be clear, this is a mixer that, even though it can unlock DVS for Recordbox, this is not a mixer you use to control the software. Because it's not just that you don't have a browser knob, there's also no load buttons. So yeah, I mean, there's no performance pads, but that's actually like a luxury. That's an extra. That's not what you need to control your software. It's just very convenient. But you would at least need to have a browsing feature, so a knob to browse through your folders, and load buttons. You should be able to click on something to load. So yeah, like DJ Wiz is saying here, you might have to use it with like something like an SP1 or SP2. Just so you know, in case you don't know what the SP is, let me just bring that in real quick. This is an add-on controller. So this is like a pretty old one already. So after the SP, they came with an XP, which has more features. The SP is actually for Serato. That XP version is, if I'm not mistaken, a Recordbox version with more features. But something like this has the browse knob. It has the browse. It has loading features in the middle. Then you have your performance pads, and you can also control effects. So I've used this in the past in combination with mixers like a DJM 900. Because a 900, and I have the SRT, so the Serato version, it'll unlock your DVS, but it doesn't give you real control over your software. So I had a mixer like that, and then I would have this add-on controller, and that is the actual description of it. It's not a controller, it's an add-on controller. So I believe this device on its own won't even unlock your software. You would have to have something like either a mixer that can do that, or in my case, I would have like an SL1 to unlock it. And then you can use an add-on controller. So I have no idea when it comes to the price. And again, I don't have to. I can just look it up. And they have, I think, do they already have several feature versions? Yeah, I mean, it's not the cheapest. I think it is like over 300, that XP1. Now, the XP1, actually, in my opinion, it's almost too much because you get like 16 performance pads. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. You don't even have that many cue points. I mean, you can do a lot with that. But maybe that XP1 is cheaper and a better option in this case. But I don't even know if they still sell that. Anyways, an add-on controller would be like a good solution in that case. Let me stretch my my chat app. I'm not really getting, I can only read like 4 messages at a time. That's not enough. Yeah, so anyway, that would be a good solution. Get an add-on controller, something like that. That's going to help you out. See Do Re Mi from Germany. What's going on, neighbor? And okay, so the XP2 will unlock DVS. Cool. So that is the thing. The SP didn't do that. In record box in performance mode, you have 16 hot cues. Really? Oh, it's divided into banks, right? Because you definitely don't see 16 in the normal view, as far as I remember from ever using record box. But let's be honest here for a second. Who would use 16 cue points unless you're making an elaborate routine? I could see that 16 cue points could be convenient if you actually make an edit where you have like a longer audio file with multiple tracks in there. 16 hot cues could be very dope. Then again, you really have to practice to make sure you remember all of those different hot cues. To me, it will be way too much. Reloop has something similar called Reloop Neon. Yeah, you would have to map it. Yeah, in this case, if you're going record box, I mean, there's a record box option. I think that is the best solution instead of having to remap. But then again, let's say you have something now that could control it, but you'd have to remap it. You could remap it. Oh, Atul Mohan has a question. I like that. Does the mask/helmet, for example, Daft Punk branding for DJs are still relevant? So is branding like that still relevant? I have no idea. I mean, how many DJs are there really that had like the helmet thing for branding? Of course, Daft Punk had it. Deadmau5 had like the mouse head, right? Let's see, I'm forgetting one. I think there's like 1 or 2 more. Like, how many DJs really use something like a mask or never show their face? It's not that many, right? I mean, basically, it is a gimmick. And I mean, it could work, but I mean, it's not the thing that's going to make you successful. I don't think that's the case. With the S11, it has 2 banks. Yeah. And on the XP2, it's all 16 hot cues. Yeah, I mean, there's probably people out there who might like that. Yeah, Marshmallow, thank you. But beyond that, I mean, I'm not really in that scene, but I can't think of too many others. Oh, Daft Punk. And there's probably going to be a few more. But on the scale of things, with all DJs that use that for their identity. So, yeah. How do I upload my mixes on YouTube without getting copyright strikes? Well, you really don't. That's the thing. You just really don't. There was an article by Digital DJ Tips. They had the solution for it, but it's a trick that can help you to see if you've used songs in your mix that will be taken to a copyright strike or will at least get your video flagged. So yeah, I Vest, like I saw the video at first. I was like, okay, let me check what this is about. For someone like me, really, it's not a real option for me. So for the people who didn't see, you can check out Digital. You would have a mix. So either you already uploaded to YouTube, just keep it on private, but it will show you automatically this video has been flagged for copyright. It's okay. You don't have to do anything. They're going to monetize your video. Or, hey, this track has been flagged and your video is going to get blocked, because that will happen with certain artists. So if you can do that in advance, you can see if your mix is safe. Now, for someone like me with live streaming, for instance, that doesn't help. I freestyle. I have a folder with like 100 tracks in there, sometimes more, that I'm going to choose from. I would have to make a file with all of those songs in there, upload it to YouTube to see if YouTube is going to flag some of those songs. So for me, that's not a viable option. So yeah, it doesn't really work for me. It depends on the genres that you play as well, because I see Mojax, he has his weekly stream, and I see him uploading like all of the replays, or uploading. He has a lot of his replays on YouTube, and that seems to work for the genres of music. But he's playing progressive house. So his show called Progress, you can check that out on Twitch, but he has the replay on YouTube. That works just fine. When I do my hip hop R&B sets, YouTube is like, yeah, probably not going to work. I literally, when I did it in the beginning, live streaming it, I'm not talking about uploading mixes, just the live stream on YouTube. After every episode, I would receive between 50 and 80 emails for each and every track in my set. Hey, this track has been flagged, bang, 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 bang. Some tracks would have been blocked, like Jay-Z, automatic block. They'll block the video, like in countries, in certain countries, sometimes in all countries. So for the genres that I play, yeah, that just doesn't seem to work. Same thing on Twitch. I can do the live replay. At least 80% of my stream will be blocked, muted because of copyright. So to come back to the original question, how do you upload your mixes on YouTube without getting copyright strikes? Well, you can if you don't use copyrighted music. So if you have a mix with your own music, you're perfectly safe, because you have the rights to use those songs. As soon as you use songs by other artists, there will be a chance that you're going to get hit with that copyright. It's not as bad as it used to be, because with a lot, like, hey, copyright, but then they'll tell you, you don't have to do anything. Your video will stay up, but they will monetize your video for those artists / labels. If that's the only thing, then yes, you can still have your mixes up. But then again, for someone like me, I already know, like, I tried it with my old YouTube channel when I was doing the live streams like 6-8 months ago. And within a couple of streams, I received a message that didn't say, hey, what's going on? This was like, hey, you're in violation of our policy. And I couldn't stream or upload. It would like take my channel down. So that is more serious. That's why I'm not doing that anymore at all. Stay away. I stay away from YouTube. Let me scroll up for a second. Vinyl Touch. Good afternoon. Good evening. And a question as well. How do the DJ 1000 jog wheels feel compared to the Cdjs? I want to get more practice. So the jog wheels on the DJ 1000 are the same jog wheels as the ones 2000 Nexus 2. Same feel. So they will get you prepared for Cdjs. Now, in not too long of a not too distant future, you're probably going to see a lot more Cdj 3000s, and they feel different. But again, still, the size is the same. So they feel a little bit different, but the size is the same. The 1000 is a great option if you want to get used to a similar type of jog wheel feel, for sure. Do you have a manager, and what's the advantage of having a manager? So no, I don't have a manager. And if so, a manager, you can have a bunch of different types of managers, by the way. But if we're talking about a business manager for DJ slash producer, that is someone who can take for you business negotiation and take that out of your hands. If they make things happen for you, so if your manager gets you a certain deal or a certain type of gigs, they will take a percentage, and that could be anything from 10 to 20%. If you currently don't have a lot of gigs or don't have a lot going on, there's not much use for a manager. Same thing with a booking agency. If you currently don't have a lot of gigs, a booking agency is not going to get you the gigs. A booking agency will help you if you're getting so many calls for gigs that you just don't want to deal with that anymore. Then the booking agency can take care of that for you. But it's not like if you find a manager now, that manager all of a sudden is going to get you all sorts of business opportunities, deals, gigs, you name it. In most occasions. Cdjs says, in my view, a manager can help you to handle day-to-day business as an artist or DJ, as well as help you create opportunities. Well, so that's the thing. It depends. Like if you find someone, a young, hungry manager who wants to really get his or her feet into that world, they might be very hungry and they might actually actively go out and try to get stuff for you. In a lot of cases, that's just not how it works. They're not actively looking for you for new opportunities. I mean, I've heard that too many times from artists and DJs that have a manager. And yeah, that manager is there if some business needs to be handled, but they're not out there looking for a lot of opportunities for you. So people have different experiences when it comes to that as well. DJ Josh, what's going on? And Leslie in the building. Lassie Blackwell, what's going on? Finally caught you. Yes, I'm here every Wednesday. You can catch me here every Wednesday and every Monday with like a mixed stream as well. Can you tell me, is it common for DJs to have the same name? I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen more often that you will see a DJ name and you're like, hey, I know a DJ by that name as well. But I mean, I don't know how common it is, but with certain names, like more obvious names, I'm pretty sure you're going to find certain DJs with the same name in every country, but a lot of them are going to be local and small time. One is going to be more famous, and that's the one that people will then know. I mean, if possible, it's always good to do a little research, and especially nowadays for DJs starting out now who have the option to look online, you can actually see like, hey, I want to call myself, I'm blanking out. Mixmaster Z. I'm going to call myself Mixmaster Z. Mixmaster G, sorry, it's the first thing I thought of. So Mixmaster Z. I can go online now, look up Mixmaster Z, and see if anything comes up. If nothing comes up, most likely a Mixmaster Z doesn't exist yet, or is so low-key and not known that it's not going to be too much of an issue. Sometimes I do see people with a name and I'm like, okay, there's already a pretty famous DJ with that name. That's not going to help you out at all. And you guys have the option now. We couldn't do that when we did not have the internet. So maybe you were famous in your local area with a name, and then you find out on a larger scale that there's already a bigger DJ with that name. Yeah. It can happen. Okay, I saw a question, and this question comes up often. Can you please tell me what DJ pool has old school hip hop and R&B? That's all I need. I really need to know what DJ pool has the old school hip hop. Not interested in new music. Some people in the chat are going to name some names of DJ pools that will have like an old school selection. But for the most, DJ pools are not even supposed to have old school music because that's not what DJ pools do. DJ pools are there to promote newer music for the record labels. If they're doing everything legit, they're not supposed to have too much old school music. That's not the purpose of a record pool. A record pool is there to promote the new music amongst DJs so that they can start playing it and actually promote the new songs. That being said, I know there's certain DJ pools that will have a selection. So someone in the chat is gonna name that. I see it all the time, but I keep forgetting which one is the one that they name the most when it comes to the old school selection. And I see, okay, that's the same question. Oh, wait. So say what a Field Dre and Dre Markeith. Okay, Facebook, YouTube, same person. Got you. Salute. Let's see. Hey, Queen Caesar, how often do you follow up with your clients when you're in the process of being booked? For example, if you send them your contract and you haven't heard back from them, will you contact them to see that they received it, etc.? Or will the lack of communication make you no longer interested in providing your service because it's unprofessional? I understand where you're coming from. So you should follow up for sure, especially when it's for a gig and it's about a contract. If you're going to be working with a contract, even if some operations might be, they don't, maybe it will take an extra email or call. But if they send the contract back after that, then you are set. You now have a signed contract and you're good to go. Now, in my case, I mean, we are seeing, unfortunately, in the Netherlands, at a certain point, let me just turn this a little bit. So I saw the difference here between the house as professionals. So they were using contracts, they were here. But if my peeps from overseas were here, same thing with like my DJ City and Beat Source fam, they're here for the week normally. They're not here this year. But then it would really be like, okay, at 4 o'clock, there's like a little session for this label here in this part of the city. After that, hop into Uber, other side of town at Hotel blah blah, this brand is doing this. And then Uber to the other side of town again because there's like another thing. And then later that night, you go into the middle of the city, the center, to this club. So it is all over the city. There's always a lot of events, and a lot of them are like small. Normally, all of the brands are here. Some will just do Airbnb, get a nice house, and they'll have like showcases there, but by appointment. So last time, 2 years ago, Serato had like a crib somewhere. You can come in. Blakey was there showing you like some of the new stuff. And then Denon has a spot somewhere, but then they also have like a hotel room where you go. Oh, by the way, when I was playing, whenever I would grab like some like 80s, late 80s hip hop, that would be like old school when it was already like the mid 90s. Then when you get to the 2000s and beyond, 90s hip hop becomes old school as well. And if I'm playing now, so today when I was doing my live stream, when I was playing like 50 Cent and Game, Hate It or Love It, that track is pretty old now. Some people will consider that old school. For me, it's a different feel. I understand it's quite old, but it doesn't feel as old to me as what I consider to be old school. So it's very subjective. Some people will absolutely call that old school. And from a time perspective, maybe that is, but there's not like a set rule. You can't really say like, okay, if something is 10 years old, then it's old school. For us older DJs, 10 years is not that long. That feels like yesterday. That feels like whatever. And again, if you're 20, 10 years is a damn long. Then I get the videos. I go through the selection process, and I'll make sure that that video goes online before the end of the year. So that announcement is coming very, very soon. Yeah, the feel of the 3000 jogs is entirely different from any other CDJ. So smooth. Mixmaster G, I couldn't agree more. That was my first impression as well. Like I saw, of course, that there was a difference to it, the look, but it does look like a CDJ. Then I felt that jog wheel, and I was like, oh, wait a minute. Let me go back, and I couldn't get enough of that. So I've had them in the house twice, and I will try to get them back one more time. Like I already know, I mean, they will have to go back to Pioneer again. But anytime I can get my hands on them here and have them here just to play a couple of sets, love them, love the feel. All right, many promoters and club owners don't like contracts. They feel like in the event the gig doesn't go as planned, that may end up hurting them more Therefore, there will be no room for negotiation. So, Nero, I think that is really something that happens in certain scenes. So in my case, for here in the Netherlands, I was talking about our urban scene, our hip hop R&B scene. That was the case there. But then again, when I got to also see how things went in our house scene over here, total different experience. Like, that's the thing. It really depends on what kind of scene you're in. Now, I can't speak for other countries, but I'm willing to assume that you're going to have the same situation in other countries as well, where in one scene, things go a lot more professional and people are used to it. So like, same thing, like what I said with not just the contracts, but also like DJs that are paid in advance. That did not happen for us, but I saw it happen in other scenes. It's not just a DJ thing. Like, when a lot of artists that come to play here in the Netherlands get booked, a lot of times they'll have at least a part of their fee paid in advance. Otherwise, they don't even fly out. So it's not just the house scene. It's also other, like, just professional booking scenes for concerts where it's different. Now, I also DJ for an artist. And even though the artist is a hip hop artist, in the last 23 years of gigging, we've done all sorts of gigs. Whenever we have like a quote unquote urban gig, things can get a little bit more questionable. Then he also has bookings that go through totally different organizations. And then, hey, man, like 2 weeks before the gig, the gig has already been paid because I can already send my invoice to the artist. So it's you can tell there's such a difference. And we've seen it. Like, we played at gigs where it was I'm going to keep using the word. I'm sorry. Like an urban event. Hip hop, R&B, that's some dancehall, whatever. This event was organized by an organization that normally does like house stuff. Their whole operation was just super tight. From the production of the event, like the business side of things, everything just worked out to a T, handled correctly. We've done a ton of events like that for more urban organizations. And then from start to finish, so from before the gig to during the gig to after the gig, you can just feel the difference. Less professional. Sometimes you have to chase your money, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, those organizations are not as fond of contracts compared to the organizations that have a tight operation, because they prefer contracts, because it also means that they have everything in black and white, so that the artist or the DJ can't pull funny business either. So yeah, in my eyes, it only makes sense. But I just noticed like the contracts were an issue. And also when I decided to go with a booking agency at a certain point, I was doing all my bookings for myself. I knew a lot of the promoters. Then I went with a booking agency, and I remember the promoters like calling me like, "Yo, man, I don't want to talk to the booker. I don't know. I don't like that. I just want to talk to you." So they were kind of hesitant to deal with a booking agency. It is what it is. Yeah. Let's see. So following up on the question, Queen Caesar, is there a cap to how many times you'll follow up with that particular client, or just continue to follow up till business is settled? I'm grateful for the business inquiries, but at times I feel like I'm always pulling misinformation. Okay, so let me give you an example. And this is not to throw any people under the bus. I've worked with people like I was going to do an event during Amsterdam Dance event. I was going to do a master class. And in the beginning, we were supposed to do this months ago, but because of COVID and restrictions, we had to move the whole thing. I say we, I'm not organizing, but I was part of it because I was doing the master class there. At a certain point, it was moved to October during ADE. Cool. At a certain point, communication became less frequent. Didn't hear as much from the organization. When I had certain questions, not everything was handled or answered. And at a certain point, some things were changed without first talking about it. So I felt at a certain point like, okay, the way things are handled now are on a level that I don't want to operate on. At that moment, I decided to just pull out, pause. Like, sorry, I can't do this. Because there is a point where you have to see, like, hey, is something now dragging me down to a level that I don't want to be at? So your situation is a little bit different because you're just talking about follow-up. So it applies here as well. So for instance, if someone, I'm working with someone for a booking, but we still have to handle a couple of things and they need to send me back a contract or answer more questions and I don't hear anything, then I'll send a follow-up mail and I don't hear anything. Then I will send another follow-up, but in that case, the follow-up will not just be like, hey, did you get my last email? The second follow-up will probably be like something like, hey, please give me a call or email ASAP so we can take care of this because the event is in 4 weeks and I want to make sure that we have everything straightened out. And if you then don't hear back, I mean, I'm grateful for business too, but you want to make sure that you just don't get dragged down to a level where you shouldn't be operating at. And if people are that hesitant to sign your documents, then at a certain point, it does become shady. Like, are you just not willing to sign a contract because you want to have a way out? So you have to always keep it take that into consideration. But I totally feel you. I totally feel you that you want to have business, so you don't just want to cut people off straight away. But you have to make that decision for yourself at a certain point. And that's what I did with that example I just gave you. I would love the business. And there's not that many gigs. I like sharing knowledge. But if things are just not handled right at a certain point, you have to say, like, okay, this is not going to be for me. Mike Feliciano, yeah. So which magma bag did you get? Because this one it could fit a mixer, but you can rearrange it to fit a lot of different things. I forget the name. That's actually pretty bad. Let me see. I don't even remember if the name is on the bag. I do remember one of the cool things is this bag is made out of plastic bottles. So I think this was like the 120, the something 120. I'll have the name for my review. But that's because it was made out of like 120 plastic bottles. So it's a pretty nice size. It can fit a mixer or something else. So in my case, like I had my my GoPro pouch with all the GoPros here, my Atem Mini Pro right above that. And you have a lot more little bags in there as well. I think it's called the Solid something. Solid Blaze. Damn it, I don't remember. A pouch above that. But then, let me quickly show you. You can take this entire inside, just take all of those separators out. Then it's just one big compartment to put a mixer in. Or, in my case, I have it set up to be something more like a camera bag. So I already have my jetpack bag, the big one for my mixer. I had the S7 in there. I had my laptop standing there, my laptop in there, my iPad in there, my phase kit in there. And in this one, I had the GoPros. I had an extra camera. This is a camera pouch with my M50 and a microphone and extra stuff in there. And then I just had all sorts of things, a power bank, some microphones if I wanted to shoot a video. The cable pouch, the big cable pouch you just saw, I had that in here. Here I have my one of my tube lights, plus like extra tripods and stuff. And then on this side, you can fit like a bunch of stuff in here as well. Lovely material, kind of waterproof stuff in there as well. Weather sealed zippers. I think they got YKK zippers on there. But like I said, I'm going to do a full review. This is not a review. Just wanted to show you the bag real quick. I like the form factor because it's a little bit smaller compared to the big jetpack bag that I have. I like the jetpack bag, but that is a massive monster. This one has like a little smaller feel, but I do remember, I haven't had to use that. They also have a zipper here, and you can unzip the bag, and then you can stretch it, expand it, so it becomes even bigger. So for my set today, I had like the 2 bags. I had the jetpack bag. You can actually see it in the back with the DJ TLM TV logo there. That bag, this bag, and that had like video gear, 3 cameras, a lot of cables in there, mixer, everything. So yeah, I'll be doing full videos on that. Let's see. Mr. Paz, what up? What's your tip for good backup? Cloud, external storage, both. If your main playout goes wrong and can't be recovered fixed, how do you complete another 2 hours of DJing? Okay, so as far as backups go, external storage for sure, and not just external storage in your home or wherever your setup is, but also in an external location. For instance, I'm in the studio now. I have external hard drives here. I have an external hard drive here that has my entire music collection and also my entire like photo and personal video collection, kids, events, stuff like that. I have a copy of that external hard drive. That's like a I think an 8 or 10 terabyte hard drive. I have a second one, an identical copy of that hard drive at home. That way I make sure that nothing will happen to, and to be honest, the music, I wouldn't want to lose it, but if I lose it, hey, so be it. Photos and videos of my kids, no, cannot risk that. So that is, I have that in several locations, and online backups are good as well. I used a couple of different ones. Now, when it comes to your main playout going wrong, so for instance, today, I did the pop-up session for Amsterdam Dance Event using Serato with Phase, and that was my working setup. But they also had a Cdj setup. Let's just say that the laptop I was using, which can hardly still handle what it needs to handle. I do need a new laptop, but it handled, with the exception of that one crazy dropout that Mixmaster G was able to see. Over here, these little things, and I have a couple now, not all of them are actually ready for it. Let me grab this for a second. I have music on at least 2 or 3 of these that was prepared in Rekordbox. If my setup would have failed me today, I would have started up that Cdj, quickly taken the speaker cables out of my mixer, put them into the Cdj set, and then I would have played from this. So having something like this as a backup is a great solution if you know that you're playing in a spot that also has Cdjs. Now, that's not always going to be the case. If I'm playing in clubs, normally, if I'm using vinyl or at least turntables, I know most of the time there's going to be other DJs playing on Cdjs and there's going to be a Cdj set. So that is the backup I have. I also know DJs that'll bring like second laptops, stuff like that. I haven't done that, but this for me is something that will save me in case something happens to my normal setup. And I could play a couple of hours from the music that's on the flash drive. I've been DJing in clubs since 3 years as a warm-up DJ, and I started getting crazy early crowds for my sets all the time. Advice to all beginner DJs: nail your warm-up sets, and it's a ticket to your primetime sets. Helps you build your following, finding your style, playing the right tracks at the right time. So guys, keep hustling and enjoying the journey. Those are very wise words. And yes, I actually said this during my last podcast. If you haven't checked out my podcast, by the way, make sure you do. The podcast is back up and running. I've changed the format, so now every episode of the podcast will cover one topic. And the last episode was all about selecting songs for a set. But I remember that somewhere in that podcast, I mentioned, it actually takes more skill to do a good warm-up set compared to playing primetime and just banging out hits. I mean, there's a skill to it, of course, but playing a good warm-up set where you're not using those crazy hits, when you're not at that energy level, but you're building that vibe, yeah, that can truly show that you know how to DJ as well. And you have a crowd there, but you have to control that crowd with less energy, get them in the right mood, the right way. Yeah, man. Ali MT, what's going on from Greece? What up, what up, what up? As you can see, I'm like 18 minutes behind again. Let's see if we can catch up before it's 10 o'clock here. We got 34 minutes on the clock before we clock out. I might go a couple of minutes over because I started a couple minutes late, but okay. And Atul, 1000%. That's a place I haven't visited yet, and it would be really dope to see. I know like a lot of my colleagues and friends have either been to Dubai, or some of them are actually like I think staying there. Like I know people that didn't live there. Then I saw them post a picture there. Then a couple of weeks later, I saw another picture. A couple of weeks later, another picture. I'm like, wait a minute, I think this person is still there. And that is actually on my list. I haven't been there, so it would be really dope to come out there to not just play, maybe even a combo, like come also like do like a masterclass and play. But yeah, that is most definitely on my list. Dubai. There's. I mean, I would love to see as many places on this globe as possible. I've been to quite a few countries, not the DJ, but just to visit the countries. I'd like to visit a lot more countries, and playing in countries would be dope as well. DJ 312 has a request for the Saturday Super Session 9. Can we get an electro beat? 124 BPM. So actually for this coming Saturday Super Session, most likely I'll do a post somewhere, probably IG and YouTube. I'm going to post a couple of beats, and I might do a little poll. So I'm going to let you guys pick. Maybe I'll put an up-tempo beat in there. So let me see. I currently don't have something like that laying around, but let's see. Maybe I can make that happen. Cdo Remy says, can you please advise me? I'm learning to scratch. Do you have any tips? How many hours or minutes in a day I can spend on that? Or any tricks how to create the ambiance to enjoy myself without falling asleep? Some days I just lose the mood. So there's no set time. There's no set time. I can't really tell you like, hey, if you practice 30 minutes a day, or if you practice 3 hours a day, you have to see what works for you. How much time do you actually have? A tip that I did hear from DJ Shorty is, and I never did that, is try to go into a practice session with a clear goal. I would just DJ all day at home, mix, scratch, whatever, and that improved my skill. But I didn't really step into like a practice session with a deliberate goal. Like I see Vinyl Touch, deliberate practice is key. I think so. So I never really did that. Of course, I knew certain things were harder for me to do. So during the practice, I would kind of focus on that. But I never really went into a practice like, okay, today I'm going to practice the baby scratch, or today I'm going to practice this scratch. First off, I didn't know any names of scratches, so I was just trying to emulate what I heard on records. But try to go in there with a goal. Like, okay, today I'm going to really work on this. And then you don't do that for 3 hours in a row. You do that for a shorter amount of time, but you make it into a more focused practice session. So totally different thing, but still, I think there's some similarities. When I do a workout, so when I go to the gym, I've had these days that I will go to the gym, and 1 minute before stepping into the gym, I still had no idea what I was going to do. The only thing I knew is, okay, I did legs yesterday, so today I could either train chest and tries, I could do back and biceps, I could do a separate shoulder workout. There's a lot of things I can do, just can't do legs because I did legs yesterday. But I would have no clue what to do until I got in. And I would go in and then do a workout, and it'd be cool. But it's not the same thing as having your mind set. Like, for instance, yesterday I went in and before I left the house, I already knew, like, okay, today's going to be chest. My mind was already focused on chest, and my mind was already focused on, okay, I'm going to start with this, and then I'm going to move on to that. And with training, you also have, I mean, it's different, but it's the same. You have your mind muscle connection where you really want to focus on what you're doing. But then again, for scratching, like, you can just freestyle and have fun, and that will improve your skill. But if you go in there purposely to practice a specific technique, I think that could work out better. And again, then you don't do it for hours on. I will play for hours, but in those hours, I will do all sorts of different things, and that can be cool. But if I was going in to practice one scratch, I'm not going to go and do 3 hours of flare scratching. Yeah, no. So I hope you understand what I'm saying here. Leslie says, I just started taking beginner mixing class. What's the recommended hours of practice? Oh, okay, that falls totally into play with what we're talking about now. So basically, I just answered your question as well. So for me, for mixing, I would like just mix, and I would record myself on cassette after I did like 45 minutes. One side of the cassette was done. I had those 90-minute tapes. And then I would sit back and listen to what I just did to hear what I did right, what I did wrong. And as soon as I was finished listening, I would go back at it. Here, you can do that, but you can also go in and do mixing sessions the same way. So depending on where you're starting. So if you're still at the beginner level, you need to practice a lot of different things. Start at that very beginning. Make sure you understand how to count. And then you can start working on your beat matching, and then just focus on beat matching for this episode. Okay, episode for this training session. But have a goal in mind. But then again, I can't tell you how long you need to do that. Some people can do that focused for 30 minutes and be good. Some people can go 45. Some people might be able to just do one single thing over and over for 2-3 hours. I think that's a little bit too much there. But then again, I can't tell you. Let's see. Queen Caesar is also working on scratches on the opposite hand helps you be intentional while practicing. Let me understand that. So working on the opposite hand helps you be intentional while practicing. Yeah, that could definitely be. I mean, I don't know if that's exactly the same thing. Like if you have a purpose, let's say my purpose is to work on one scratch. I don't know if it's going to matter if I do it with one hand or the other, but I think it is a good idea to try to practice with both hands, 100%. I can still do certain scratches only with my right and other scratches only with my left, and I hate it. I want to be able to do everything with both hands, be totally ambidextrous. And if I want to do that, I will have to put in the hours. And for that, I will have to go in and say, okay, today I'm going to take 30, 45 minutes and strictly work on transforming with my left hand on the fader and do that. Or go in, I'm going to practice the flare with my right hand on the fader, because I can do it the other way, but I can't do it that way. Sal Soul from DC, what up, what up, what up? 312, yes indeed. And Paul Hinsky is here from Montreal. And we got Mr. Paz. What tips can you both give for deliberate practice, not scratch related, but other DJ practice? How do you prepare and how long each week? So guys, I mean, to be honest, I think you're focusing too much on how long you should practice. And I really cannot tell you, because I think, like I just said, it's really going to be different for every person. Some people cannot go beyond 30 minutes of repeating the same thing before they go absolutely crazy. Other people can do it for half a day. There's so many things you can practice. So if you're just starting out, you still need to learn everything. So you can practice a bunch of different things. So beat matching, but do a practice where you're only focusing on, okay, what sound do I need to listen to in the song that I'm cueing to hear if it's playing too fast or too slow? That is something you need to learn. So one track is playing. You want to match the tempo of the other track by ear. So I'm not talking about looking at your screen or hitting sync, by ear. You start that second track. Now you have to hear, okay, is it playing too fast? Do I need to slow it down? Or is it playing too slow? Do I need to speed it up? You will have to practice to find out if it's playing too fast or too slow. How do you do that? You learn how to focus on certain sounds in that track. For me, I used to focus on the snare drums. Other people use something else, but that's something you have to practice. So you can have a practice session where you're purposely teaching yourself to hear if something is playing too fast or too slow. You can have a practice session where you're just working on your nudging. So how hard do you hit your jog wheel to speed it up or slow it down? Just work on that. And I mean, I'd have to give it more thought instead of just shouting out things. But yeah, Vinyl Touch, same thing. Like, time matters less. I've never thought about it in, hey, do this for so long. So I'm going to do another workout analogy with the gym. I see people in the gym that are there every day, and they're there from before I started, and they're still there after I leave. I don't pay a lot of attention to other people in the gym because that's not my business. I'm there for me. But whenever I do see them, I can tell that some of those people spend a lot of that time in the gym doing other things instead of working out. So they are working out, but I see them taking very long breaks. I see them on their phone quite a lot. I can tell you that I've been in there for 45 minutes and I've done more intensity, more reps than the person that was there for an hour and a half or 2.5 hours. Not all people, but I see those people. So they went to the gym for 2 hours. I went to the gym for 45 minutes. Who had a better workout? I know I did. I came in there with more focus. My sets were definitely more intense. My breaks were shorter. I can walk out of the gym sometimes after 30, 35 minutes feeling wrecked because I went in with a focus and that intensity. So that's why I don't want to put too much on time. Same with scratch practice. For some people, if they're really focused and into it, they might get a great workout in a lot less time than other people. So, yeah. I missed a question. I have to scroll for a sec. I saw a question about a computer. Oh, it's there. The question is, does it matter which Macs are better? I currently have a 2012 Pro. Well, does it matter? It depends on what you want to do. So with computers, you will always run into the situation that at a certain point, your computer is too old and it can't handle the newer operating system. So a new version of an operating system will come out. At a certain point, you have specs in that computer, so the hardware in that computer can't handle. Not always can't handle, but they made it so that the newest operating system is not compatible anymore. That can happen. Same thing applies to other software. Software will always be updated, and at a certain point, your computer will be too old to still run that. So it doesn't always mean that the computer couldn't be powerful enough to do it, but either they just designed the newest version of the software to be more compatible with newer computers that run on a different chipset or different anything. So yeah, I mean, 2012, you're probably in the danger zone with certain software already, but it depends. Maybe the software you use all still works perfectly on it, but that is what you need to look at. Gregory, this is the one and only place for questions. No, that's not true. You can ask me questions in different places. People, you can also email me, share the knowledge at djtlm.com or stk@djtlm.com. You can also hit me on the DM on IG. But this is the perfect place for questions because I won't be the only one answering because we have more people in the chat. And sometimes people in the chat have better answers than me because I definitely don't know everything. So yes, Greg, please drop your question right here. Hey, Daniel Peterson, what up? Just got in contact with an event company that provides DJs, lighting equipment, etc. I asked if I could DJ at some of their events and they said, okay. What fee should I demand? Oh, wow. I have no idea. I have no idea. So what kind of events do they do? Maybe they have a set fee for DJs that they have on their roster. I honestly can't tell you. So it also depends on which area you're operating in. It also depends on what type of scene they provide gigs for. And when I say scene, I'm talking about you have event companies that cater to more high-end clientele. So the parties are going to be a little more fancy and everything's going to be more expensive and they're probably charging more. Yeah, like you said, it's different events from corporate to high school events. They probably have a company like that most likely will have set prices that they charge the companies. So I don't know if you go into that with your own fee. It's really hard for me to comment on this one. I've never been in a situation. I've never worked for event companies like that. So just a question, are you going to be on their roster and that they can like they can take care of bookings for you? So you're one of their DJs. So if they have a corporate event coming up and that corporate event needs a DJ, that they can then put you in that place, or is it just like a separate thing? No, I don't think that is what it is, because you asked if you could DJ some of their events. They said okay. Oh man, it's hard. Also, I don't know your level. I'm not just talking skill level, just also like DJ level within the DJ scene. Are you someone who's already doing a lot of gigs? Is your name out there? Do you have a lot of experience? What do you bring to the table? If you're a pretty new DJ and you don't have a lot of experience, that means that you're not in a position to demand a lot of money either. But it's hard for me to say. I have no idea what the regular price is in that area. Do most DJs there charge by the hour, or do they have a flat fee for gigs? It's really hard for me to comment on a situation like that. And for me personally, I remember when I started out, I had no idea what to ask for either. I had to learn. And the way I also learned is to find out what a lot of the local venues were paying a lot of DJs. Start hearing more from other DJs, what they charge and what they get paid. That starts to give you a better idea of what a going rate might be in the area. I had to learn that, but that was for me in Amsterdam in a totally different era. I mean, we're way beyond when I started. That's like 8 years ago. And I remember the first time people asked me like, hey, what do you charge? I had no idea. At a certain point, you start to understand the local market, but you also see your own value. So you understand what you would at least want for a gig, and then you can take that into consideration when you step into a negotiation. But yeah, beyond that, super hard for me to say. I can't name numbers. That's the only thing I can tell you. I wish I could, but I just don't know. And Red, no, I still have not used the Rain 1. I know. Nope. I think by the time I've used it, the Rain 2 will be out. But no, I still haven't used it. I honestly still haven't been in a spot where I've seen one. I've been at an audio store that had DJ equipment, but they didn't have the Rain 1 there. No, otherwise I would have definitely just grabbed it there and gave it a little spin. Okay, so Atul, the suggestion by Atul is for my website, I have a great community here, DJ community, to include a community forum on my website so other people can answer questions and build up the Google ranks. That might be. I just know I want to spend as little time as possible on my website, and I don't mean to be on the website, but as far as maintenance and work, I'd rather really try to have just a one-page website where people can see, if they don't know me, if they see my website, they can hear and see what I'm about pretty quick. They'll get links to all my socials, and I have a shop there. To go back to having like forums and members and stuff like that. So I totally understand what you're saying. I think still that is something that will probably have to happen on Discord. I have a Discord. I still haven't really used it, and I know some people use that as that extra community platform outside of the social media, like pages that they have. But yeah, so I try to stay away from that, even though I have certain plans that might include something like that, but not on my website. But yeah, I appreciate that suggestion though, because it could help with Google ranks. I understand that totally. We'll see what the future brings. I do know I have to focus on less at the same time, because I know that's a danger. I'm already focusing on quite too many things. And what I understand from a lot of like channels that I follow, that's mostly like tech channels, stuff like that, that a lot of them will have, also a lot of Twitch streamers, by the way, that they have a Discord community. And I have a Discord. You can find me on Discord, but I still actually need to do my own research to see a little bit better, like, okay, how can I use Discord better? Because I have it. Some people are on my Discord, but nothing's happening there right now. That might be the perfect place for that. But I honestly haven't taken the time to give Discord the proper attention. So I think that's going to be step number one. Vest, yeah, the shop is up and running, and it should actually be working again. I mean, the order went out last week, so it should be up and running and working. I just don't know if I have all the same things in there that I had in there when you were last checking it. So yeah, let's you can check that out. DJTLM.com/shop. There's two different ways to do it. That's my shop, and then I also have some similar shirts through Teespring, and they show up on YouTube. Those shirts are a little bit different. Most of the shirts that I have are the shirts that are exactly the same ones you see in the shop. John Willard, I appreciate that. And yeah, Vinyl Touch has a good point as well. Like, there will be times that you feel as if you hit a wall in terms of progress. And we all run into that. And sometimes you really have to just do something else for a second, go back to it. 100%. Hey, I caught up. I caught up with the chat in time. That is great. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. So we have like 12 minutes on the clock, and I'm up to speed, so that's perfect. James Antoine, what's going on? Hey, wait a minute. There was a question. Gregory wanted to ask a question. You asked it. Hold up. I didn't forget you. All right, here we go. I'm a drummer, and I'm looking to get into DJing to play my productions. Is there a way I could integrate live drums with a DJ console while playing both? Yes, most definitely. First off, drumming is an incredible foundation for DJing. Let's just start right there. I used to drum before I started DJing. Drumming gave me such an incredible insight into how music works without even knowing about the terms. So I knew how to count music without even understanding what counting music was. I didn't know the terminology, beats, bars, phrases. If you would have told me that, I would have no idea what that meant, but I knew what it was from drumming. Also, drumming really helps you with some of the movements with DJing, especially with scratching, when your hands have to do things independently while still working together. Now, you know that when you're working that hi-hat and you're working that snare, and of course your feet are doing some kicks, you're working together, but those hands are not doing the exact same thing. So when you're scratching, sometimes you might be actually doing a similar movement, but the other time this hand might be doing this while the other hand is doing that, or vice versa, But because of drumming, you will automatically have a better feeling for it. Now, you could incorporate something like have a small electronic drum kit that will have an output. Like normally it has a headphone output, but I'm sure it also has like an audio output. You could insert that into a channel on a DJ mixer. And so you make sure you have a mixer that either has 2 channels and a session in, so an extra input, or use a 4-channel mixer. You can mix music, and when you have a track playing and you have your drum pad right next to it, you can go out there and add drums live to what you're playing, what you're DJing. It can definitely be done, and that could be very dope as well. Yes. Yeah, for sure. Let's see. Mr. Paz had a question as well. Great tips here. Much appreciated. Are more DJs just bypassing the pitch adjust by ear stage so they can free themselves up more things like effects and EQs? Bypassing the pitch adjust by ear stage. I don't know. Look, I believe it's something that is important to do, to beat match by ear. So I don't mean you have to do it when you're DJing. If you prefer to use pitch, or if you prefer to just look at your screen and see if the tracks align, you can do that. But at least knowing how to do that by ear is a very valuable skill to have. And sometimes you will actually need it if you do not have sync or you can't not look at a screen. So yeah, you could bypass it to free yourself up. I would prefer to actually learn that skill. Once you master that skill, then you're also freed up because now you're not thinking about it anymore. I just had this conversation after my set today with a couple of peeps that were there, including D-Boy020. Like I said, like, yep. I mean, everything I do is freestyle, but I love freestyle and I feel free because I'm not thinking about techniques. So when I'm DJing, my mind is not spending any time thinking like, okay, I want to do this now, so then I have to do that. No, that is just second nature. So I can actually just focus on having fun and working something like effects, EQ, scratching, you name it. But in my case, I didn't bypass any stage. I just mastered it. So now it is second nature, and then I don't think about it. When you first learn how to drive a car, this might not be a good analogy for you US peeps who do not drive stick. For all the automatic drivers out there, you might not know what I mean. But here, when you learn how to drive in the Netherlands, you drive stick, so you learn how to shift gears. When you first start to drive, I remember when I first started to drive, my focus was really on the technique. Okay, I'm going to switch to the next gear. Okay, so I got to do this now. Okay, oh, there's a corner, so I got to shift back to 2. Let me do this and that. Now, when I drive cars, I haven't thought about all of those different techniques in forever because they became second nature. But in the beginning, you're thinking about it. Once you do it enough, you're not thinking about stuff like that anymore. Same with DJing. In the beginning, you're thinking a lot. At a certain point, it becomes second nature and you start to feel really free. Excuse me. How did I miss this question? Feels like some questions popped in later because I was up to speed, and now I see that I'm seeing more questions I didn't see before. So C over me had another question. I have external disc for all my music, for record box, for songs that's already analyzed. If I pull out this external disc, do I have to analyze them again one by one once I put it back? Just want to put it no, if the songs have been analyzed, they've been analyzed. So if you unplug your external hard drive and next time you plug it back in, your software will still see that those are the same tracks that it already analyzed before. So that shouldn't be a problem. Let's see. Mo1, what's going on? Salute, salute, salute. Mixmaster G, I forgot to ask since you're still here. Do people need an appointment to come check out your workshops? Or can they just walk in at any time? during this Amsterdam dance event. Maybe that's good to know. Chris on the mix with a question. Have you seen a picture of the Numark DJ Mixstream Pro? Someone posted on Instagram, but it's now deleted. Oh, no. It has speakers and a screen. No, I missed that. Well, it's the internet, so let's be honest. It should still be somewhere. Let me see. Let's see if someone still has that. What the hell is this search? Okay. Oh, if it's not, you can't find it in Google. Okay. So then they got rid of it quick. Okay. I'm not going to spend my time looking for it now. Search one, what's going on? James wants to know, do DJing and Talkbox go together with house music and R&B? Hey, I mean, you can make anything work. It's all possible. Is it something you can do the entire time? Is there going to be a large audience who really notices it or really appreciates it? I'm not sure about that, but you can incorporate a lot. You can incorporate drums while you're DJing. You can incorporate other instruments while you're DJing. It can all be done, especially with the techniques that we have out here nowadays. It can all be done. How much do people really want to hear it? That remains to be seen. I remember seeing a DJ with a saxophone player a long time ago. That was cool for the first 5 minutes. And then it was like, yeah, okay. Now I've basically heard it. You're playing house music, and anytime you bring in a new track, the saxophone player continues to play. So we lost interest pretty fast because nothing new happened after that initial thing. Like, oh, hey, cool, there's a live musician playing along. Like, same thing with the drums. You can drum in your DJ set if you incorporate it the right way, and you do it every now and then. And I think drums are more interesting compared to some other instruments. It could be a cool addition to have something. Like, imagine if you're DJing and at a certain point you bring in something like an acapella, but instead of bringing in an instrumental, you start to drum a beat live with that acapella, and then you switch and throw in a new track, and a couple tracks later maybe you add something cool. But if you just have a house track playing and you add a couple of cowbells, and then you mix in a new song and you add a couple more cowbells, then you're like, yeah, cool, okay. So just having something extra is not enough. You need to implement it in the right way too. Mac Joseph, will Denon take over? No, I don't think so. I mean, they've increased their market share. I think it's dope to see brands innovating and more brands showing us that things can be done, because it keeps everyone on their toes. So same thing with one particular company coming out with a way to separate your music tracks within DJ software into stems. And now you have at least 2 different DJ companies that already allow you to do that in their DJ software. Maybe it'll become more. One brand might add a feature. Other brands will pay attention, and if they see that it catches on, they understand, like, okay, maybe we have to add something more. Now, even with the CDJ 3000, even though they didn't do it the same way, but up until that point, all CDJs had like these flimsy little hotkey buttons that were on the side, and you had like 3, and then you had 4, and then you had to hit a button with bank if you wanted 4 more. Now with the CDJ 3000, now we're already looking at a nice row of bigger buttons. Now, they're not the same size as the performance pads we see on controllers or like on the Denon SC players, but it's an improvement. So I like seeing that. I hope that the brands will keep each other sharp. But a takeover, I think it takes a lot for a brand to like take over in the market. So for same thing with like DVS for DJs, like Serato has taken that #1 spot over time. In the beginning, I think a lot of pros might have said that Tractor was the way to go. I think Native Instruments kind of blew that for themselves, and Serato has that spot now. It's not something that with a couple of innovations another brand will take over. So same thing here. Pioneer has a certain lock on the situation where most of the clubs will have Cdjs there. Pioneer offers a lot of controllers that are also something that a lot of people will look at and go to. Has Denon stepped up their game? And yes, they have, incredibly. And they came out with a lot of dope things. So that helps. And their name is out there more than it was in the last couple of years before that. But a takeover to take over from a brand that has solidified itself and taken that position that, for instance, Pioneer has, that's pretty tough. I don't even know if they need to. I mean, just growing their market share alone, I think, is already a good thing. Okay, so for Mixmaster G, you can walk in anytime. Entrance is free. So Mixmaster G is in Amsterdam during Amsterdam Dance Event, doing workshops and showcasing his DJ conversion utility tool. So if you're in the Amsterdam area this week and you want to know more about that, how you can convert your library from Rekordbox to Serato or to Tractor or Engine Prime. If you're using a streaming service in your DJ software, I think there's also ways you can convert that. So it's worth taking a look at. What do you think of the Off-White Pioneer DJ set collab? Do you think it's nice or just a way for people to flex on others? I mean, I think that's it. Well, let me rephrase. I mean, if someone buys it, I'm not going to assume that it's automatically because they want to flex on others. Oh, yeah. But then again, I believe there weren't really extra features in there that would make me say, like, okay, that's a better one than the normal version. But I mean, it looks cool. I think it was pretty expensive. So I think it's cool. It's cool. It's a little bit of a gimmick, even though for some people they might see that Off-White version and just fall in love with the look of it. And I mean, it looks dope. So yeah, I mean, it's cool that they do things like that, but it's not like super impressive beyond that. Like feature-wise, I don't think anything else happened there. What's the best way to switch my library from internal to an external HD? I'm using Serato Pro. Also use iTunes as my primary music organizer on a Mac. I'm going to say Mixmaster G is the one. Oh, there we go. Mixmaster G has an app for that, and it's under 10 euros. Yeah. So Mo1, for real, look up Mixmaster G. He sells tools for that, like software that will allow you to switch that. I mean, you can links don't work, but you can name it, right? Because I keep saying DJ conversion utility tool, but that's not the correct name, is it? I think I'm always kind of butchering the name of your app, but you have several different apps. So if you can just type the name, that should help too. Okay, so Vest says, like, Scratch Bank is another example. Serato came out with it. Rekordbox came with their poorly designed version. Virtual DJ also released their view on it. And I think that's a good thing. If brands innovate, we as consumers will benefit. So it's a good thing if brands step up. Like Pioneer, Pioneer might have been actually earlier with those Q banks. I don't know. But then again, different brands stepping up, either innovating or improving, will make sure that other brands have to also improve. Reading. All right, we're past 10 o'clock. We're going to go a couple more minutes, and then we're going to call it a day. Deepak, Smooth D, what's good? I asked you this before, didn't get to hear your response. I want to know what you think of DJs sticking to BPM or going with by flow, as in what sounds right. Yeah, I've talked about that before. So here's the thing. I totally understand BPM. I actually fell into the trap myself. No, I wouldn't say that. I do it too. When I'm playing and I'm in a folder, I sort that folder by BPM. I do that 100%. When I was playing with vinyl, I never did that. I wasn't even thinking about that because I wasn't into BPM. Even though in the vinyl days, you had DJs that had the BPM of all their songs written on the sleeves of their vinyl. At that time, I didn't understand why they did it. I totally understand now. So when I was using vinyl, I would have to go 100% off feel and knowing my music. I would be playing a track, and in my mind, either I would think of a new song to play, or I would be going through my crate, seeing the sleeves of my records, and because I knew my music, I would see a certain track at a certain point and be like, yeah, this is going to fit perfect. A lot of times it would also fit BPM wise just because I knew my music that well. But sometimes it didn't really, but it would fit the vibe. And then I would just not mix that track in and bring it in on the one. So I totally understand why DJs now will use BPM. And I do that too. But when I'm in a certain flow while I'm playing, even though I'm sorting by BPM, if I'm playing and at that moment I think of another track, that track might not be in that same row, might not even be in the same folder. So then I will just go to the search, jump to that track, or if I know, hey, that track is in that folder, go to the other folder, take that track, and once I play that, I might just stick in that folder, follow that BPM to see if I see anything, or maybe I'm already thinking of a next track. So at the end of the day, in my folders, I do sort by BPM, but it will always be a combination of seeing BPM related tracks, but also using my knowledge of my music and whatever the flow tells me. You could be playing tracks, and a lot of times those tracks will tell you like, oh, dope, this track will fit perfectly. Sometimes you're totally wrong. I've done that too. You're like, let me play this one. I'll load it up, and then I hear that it's like 15 BPM slower. Like, oh, that's not the same type of vibe at all. And either I decide to switch because I really want to play that track, or most of the times I'll skip and look for another song. So the combination is the best for me. Always have your feeling there, but from a sorting music perspective, I prefer BPM. Other people will sort by key because they want to make sure anything they play will fit according to key. So whatever floats your boat, whatever works for you is what you should be doing, of course. Let's see. Nara says, one of my turntables restarts to music sometimes once I switch the fader over. What's the cause of that? Is that a needle skip? My turntables are Reloop RP7000. Let me see if I understand correctly, because you're saying one of my turntables restarts the music. I'm not sure I understand. So you're using Reloop turntables, and are you playing with real vinyl? Or am I missing something? Or are we using some sort of DJ software, and what is the mixer doing? I say that because I know that some mixers will have, and I don't know if that works in combination with DJ software. I know there's certain DJ equipment out there where you can set the faders on your mixer to trigger fader start, meaning that if you switch the fader, that will start the song. I don't know what your setup is, but it sounds like something like that could be happening here. But then again, I'm not sure. If you're using real vinyl and you say returns when you switch the fader, maybe your needle is not set the right way and that it's way too sensitive, and that when you switch the fader, that little tap already skips your needle. It's really hard for me to tell just by your story here. So let me know if you're using real vinyl or something else. G Styles, what up, what up? Can you hook up Phase DJ to Tractor Z2? And if so, can you use it with one turntable? Yeah, I mean, phase doesn't depend on the mixer you use. I mean, when you're using phase, you can tell phase what DJ software you're using, and you will need equipment to activate that DJ software. So if you're using Tractor, and you're clearly using Tractor if you're using the Z2, then you need something that will activate your Tractor. Now the Z2 will of course do that. So Tractor is now working, and then you just have to calibrate your phase to yeah, no, I'm not connected. Calibrate phase to work with the DJ software you're going to use, and then that should work. To be honest, I have not used phase with Tractor yet. That is something I need to do, to test actually. But can I currently do that? Do I have anything for that? I need something to activate Tractor. I have an S4. Oh, I have to look into that, but that should be able to work. Now, can you use it with one turntable? Well, I think in Tractor you can do the same thing as in Serato, that you can play with one turntable. So you have one deck on internal. You bring in a new track from the turntable connected deck, and once it's in there, you instant double, so it's also playing on the other deck. I think that should work with Tractor the same way it works with Serato. But I haven't used Tractor in forever. Let's see. Yeah, Daniel. So the off-white, yeah, nothing, just the color. Yeah, I mean, it looks cool. But if I would have that controller, I would not switch to the off-white just for the color. Or I would have to be swimming in money and say, like, hey, that's fun to have. Okay, so yes, Mixmaster G has the DJ conversion utility. You have the DJ conversion utility that's most popular, but then you have the DJ conversion utility streaming, then conversion utility. See, you have too many. Yes, for that alone, I need to come by so I can see all of them again, even though you can see them on your website too, right? Mr. Pass says, I prefer to own my music. I may dabble with DJ streaming in the future, but I won't fully convert. I wouldn't either, by the way. Where and how far do you think DJ streaming will go in the future? What do you think is coming next? Should we be afraid that some are saying it's the future of DJing? I really hope it isn't. Well, it shouldn't matter for you, because you can continue to play how you want to play. If you prefer to own all your own music, you just play with the music you own. I definitely see the advantage of also having the option to use the streaming service, because, for instance, with using BeatSource, they have a ton of music that I currently don't have on my computer. And for my stream today, by the way, I used the MacBook. I used my old Surface Book, and I know it can't handle a lot, so I wanted to make sure I didn't have Wi-Fi on or anything like that. So I took a couple of playlists that I made on BeatSource, and I stored them offline. So I was using a streaming service today, but I did not need an internet connection for it. And yeah, that worked great for me as well. So I see it as a great addition. But look, I've gathered a ton of music over the years, so I have a collection. So I will have folders of my own music. But then again, the streaming service offers me a lot as well. So I like it as something add-on. Now, in the future, I mean, we could get to a point where as a DJ, you could just go to a club. There's going to be a club computer there. Every club will have like a powerful computer there, which doesn't have to be a laptop. It would be probably even better if they have just imagine every club would have like a powerful desktop computer underneath the DJ booth. You have a nice big monitor in the DJ booth. And all you need to do when you come in is they'll have the different DJ software on the computer. And all you do is log in to your preferred streaming service. And then all of your playlists and music will be there, right there for you. Now, you're not on Wi-Fi. It's the computer from the club. They have an Ethernet connection in there, so you have great internet. I mean, that does sound good to me. If I could go to a club, I could just walk in. They have a DJ set there. The computer and everything is there, and all I have to do is log in, and then I see all of my files there. I mean, there's something to be said for that. So, but then there's going to be plenty of occasions where you're playing in a different scenario, and then you'll be using a laptop, and maybe I just prefer to have all my own music there so I don't have to depend on anything else. I don't know. I don't take things too serious like this will change and this is the future of DJing. I think everyone will find their own way within it. I just love the fact that we have different options. So I prefer that. More options. Don Boy, I just talked about that. Yeah, no, I don't know. I just made a joke about the Rain 2. People still asking me if I tried Rain 1. So I just said like, hey, probably by the time I get to it, the Rain 2 is going to be here. But no, I've never even heard the name Rain 2. I just made a joke about it. So I don't even know. And normally during Amsterdam Dance Event, all of those brands would be here. I don't even think they're here. So I couldn't even ask about that. I see an anonymous cheer. I see that. Salute for those bits. Yeah, man. Like Vest, indeed, and Mixmaster G. I see you talking about Native Instruments. Yeah, they had the remix decks. They had the stems. They were ahead of their time, but the implementation probably just wasn't right, or the timing wasn't right. But we know a lot is possible with DJ software. So Nara, I don't think I saw the follow up of what you're using beyond the Reloop RP7000. You said restarts the music, and that at home everything was fine and it happened during a gig, but I don't know what else you're using to play with it. Test run at home, yeah. So DJ software, real vinyl, let me know. And let me know fast. Maybe you've already done that because, okay, so your mixer is an S9. Yeah, Vest, I said the same thing. Like, it sounds to me like fader start. Like, if you move the fader and the track restarts, that's why I needed to know if Nara is using DJ software or real vinyl. If it's DJ software, you're saying S9, so I assume you're using Tractor or Record Box. Maybe fader start is active. I don't even know if you can do it with all of the software. That sounds like it. Like if you move a fader and the music restarts, that is a feature called fader start that comes from radio. At radio stations, you would have the disc jockeys there. They would have a mixing board and they would talk about the music. And when they needed the new song to start, they would just push the fader up. And I used to do a radio program way back, not a mix show, but we used to do a show where we would also have music playing from the system there. You would bring that fader in and the music would start. So that was also used on certain DJ equipment. That may be it. Oh, wait. Mixmaster G, is Native here? They are here? I honestly haven't checked enough. I need to make sure I check. Maybe some of the people are here. All right. So we're going to do the last ones real quick. Really quick. Daniel Peterson says, I want to update my DJ controller, upgrade Reloop Terminal Mix 4. Been using it for 7 years. What DJ controller can you recommend? What DJ software are you using with it? And what are you looking for in a controller? So I don't think I'm going to have the answer for you, but why do you want to upgrade? Even if you've been using that one for 7 years, what makes you want to upgrade? Just the fact that you've had it that long, or are you missing some things? So Nara, it sounds, yeah, it plays to the point where I want it, and then it restarts to the beginning. Oh, I don't know. It sounds like fader start. It sounds like fader start. If it really happens when you move the fader, then it sounds like fader start. I don't even remember if you can do that in Serato. You know that? But yeah. Vest, see you next time. G Styles is having issues with phase. Yeah, phase has been working perfectly for me, I have to say. So today too, I was playing with phase, and the only thing I couldn't do is use phase without the RCA cables. So the laptop I use, it can't handle that. When that update came out that you could use it without plugging in the RCA, I tried it. The laptop could not handle that. But normally when I'm DJing here in the studio, I use my studio computer to DJ as well. That can handle it just fine. So I know that's not a phase issue. That's the computer. So I used phase, but I used it with the RCA cables in there. And even on that old laptop, it was smooth as can be. Let's see. Well, okay, so Paz, let me just rephrase what you just said. So you're saying you're thinking more about mobile events with the streaming, particularly with requests at parties. Are some DJs going to be booked by clients who prefer them, as they will be able to access infinite tracks via streaming? Well, the thing is, I don't know, maybe in some occasions that can happen. For me personally, that's not a threat at all, because I won't play at those parties anyway. That's not for me. So if a client wants a DJ who's going to be a jukebox at their party, like, hey, we're going to book that DJ because people can ask anything and that DJ can play it. Do you have fun? Go ahead. I wouldn't be the DJ for that gig anyway. So in that way, it's not something that bothers me, because that's never going to be the way I DJ. So I understand what you're saying. Maybe at a certain point when clients start to learn, like, hey, you have DJs out there that have everything, because they use whatever. They use BeatSource and Tidal. They can get their hands on basically any music you want, and that's perfect. So we can ask them to play anything from whatever, something from an Evita soundtrack to you name it, anything. Cool. If that's the type of DJ you want to book that DJ by all means. That would never be me anyway. So that's why I don't really worry about that, because I also know with a lot of events and in club events, they're not looking for DJs like that. Okay. Yes, Wiz. Wiz, I said the same thing. It must be fader start. Queen Caesar has a good question, Joe. Are you in relative or absolute mode? No, but Nara, it shouldn't be the needles. Like, if you say that it actually goes to the beginning of the song again, then it shouldn't be the needle. Or is it really that you move it? Is it like seamless? So is it when you move the fader, you're automatically at the beginning of the track? Or is it that you move the fader and that you actually hear like a skip and that the record starts over because the needle moved to the beginning? If the needle is still in the same position, but the song went back to the beginning, then you know it's not the needle. If the needle is flipping back, then it's the needle. But if the needle is still in the same position, but the song went back to the beginning, then, well, you're not in absolute mode, but then it's definitely something that triggers it to restart, and it must be something like fader start. Yeah, so keep us updated. I'll be back with the Q&A next Wednesday, because I'm actually interested to know, because I truly don't even remember if you could do how you do fader start with Serato. That's something I can see quickly. Fader start. Is there anything? How do I turn off? No, I don't want to turn off the crossfader. I'm trying to see if there's a fast answer for that here. I don't see it. So it might be something on the hardware. But wait. Now I don't remember. Can you do that on the S9? Is there a button for that? Because I truly don't remember. Crazy, right? I've had the S9 for that long, but because it's a feature I never use, I don't really look at that. Now I'm looking at close-ups of my mixer. No, there's no fader start there. So I don't think you can do it there. So I think it's something you need to enable within the hardware. I remember like on, I think some of the old Pioneer Club mixers, you would actually have that on the mixer where you could activate that. That's something to look into. All right, wrapping it up. I went over my 2 hours, but sometimes you have to do that. God's own salute to you. And all right, Mr. Pass says, I agree. I'm not the type of DJ like that either. Just worry about not getting enough work. I know my strength and what great things I can offer. Just see all the different mobile DJs using Q codes, SMS for request, but I don't want any of this. Yeah, so that's the thing. That's why I never try to focus too much on that. So I understand what you're saying, like you're worried about not getting enough work, but it doesn't help to look at DJs who follow a different path. Because yes, you're going to have DJs that might be able to get a lot of work with request shows and whatever. But if that's not you, that's not you. I see the same thing on Twitch. Some DJs will have streaming sessions that are basically just request and people actually pay with bits to get songs played. I have nothing against it. It's just not my cup of tea. So I could be like, damn, I want to make more money on Twitch. I see a DJ doing a request show and I see how many bits that person is getting. Doesn't make a lot of sense. If I don't want to do that, then I don't even need to look at that. Indeed. Mixmaster G, I'll be seeing you somewhere this week when I drop in at the ADE pop-up for sure at your workshop. So yeah, Mr. Paz, I mean, we got to follow our own path when it comes to that. And you know your strength. You just need to make sure that people know what you have to offer. Beyond that, never try to convince people that don't want to be convinced. So if you have clients that want to have DJs like that, you're not going to convince them that you're better. Even if you most likely can offer more quality, they're not going to understand that anyway. So yeah, I feel you, bro. I feel you. All right, so Mr. Paz, Nara, Queen Caesar, DJ Wiz, God's Own, Mixmaster G, Daniel Peterson. Let's go, Roman J. And Roman J says, do you think virtual DJ will ever make phase DJ work via HID? Oof. I don't know. I mean, we see updates and stuff all the time, so I anything can happen for sure. Anonymous Cheerer, Mac Joseph, Search One, salute to all of you, Don Boy, G Styles, who else? And now I'm getting too far up there. So the rest of you, all the lurkers in there, just watching, listening, I salute to you as well. For the people who are in the chat, much love to all of you. I'm back on Monday with a new episode of Crates. And I will be back here next Wednesday, as I'm every Wednesday, so you can catch me for another Q&A. Tune in to the podcast. So the podcast episode 87 is online now, selecting tracks for your set. The next episode 88 is going to be about preparing your music for a set. So from now on, the podcast is not a Q&A anymore. And the reason is simple. This is now my Q&A show. I prefer to do this live because I'm actually talking to you while you're asking the questions. And it's going to make the podcast a lot more, it's going to make it a lot easier for you to find the content in my podcast. Because normally I couldn't put all of the questions I answer in one episode in the title. Now, if you start to look at the upcoming podcast, you can immediately see, okay, this entire podcast is about selecting songs for your set. Okay, this one is all about preparing music for your set. Oh, this one is all about this. So I get the chance to talk about one topic for a longer time. I can go more in depth, and it's going to make it easier for you to find. So my podcasts are available on all podcast streaming platforms. So you can find me on anything from Apple Podcasts, Spotify. You can find me on Podbean, Stitcher, Anchor.fm/DJ TLM. That has the link to all streaming platforms. And my podcast is, of course, also on SoundCloud, soundcloud.com/DJ TLM. Everywhere. If you want to support my platform, you can also check my Patreon. That's patreon.com/DJ TLM. And that's it for now. Curtis, salute to you as well. Seeing you twice in one day during that stream. And now again, Das Hog. Ja toch. Graag gedaan. And I'll see all of you guys somewhere during a next stream. All right? Peace.